Welcome to the VC3 News Update. I am Shanad Hackshaw with the top local news stories. Education Minister Curtis King has described the last school year as successful since it had very little reports of incidents of any serious nature. Speaking on VC3's Roundtable Talk, where he was also joined by Deputy Chief Education Officer Joycelyn Blake Brown, the minister said that at the commencement of the 2022-23 school year, there were some challenges at the beginning, and it was felt that the ministry would not be ready for the opening of schools on the scheduled opening day. He said despite this, the ministry defied the odds.
Basically, what had happened, we had indicated as a ministry that coming out of the volcanic eruption, where the schools were, a large number of our schools was used for housing of persons who had to be removed from what was then called the red zone or the dangerous areas into the safe zones. Those schools in the safe zone, numbering about 55, were all used as emergency shelters, and as such, the schools came in for a battering because, they were not designed for that sort of activity, despite the significant repairs that would have been done over the years to ensure that at least they're in a position that they could perform such a task.
He further explained that the ministry recognized that because they were not able to do substantial repairs, that it would be challenging, given the short frame they had to be prepared for the new school year. However, as of then, he said they had a smooth flow for the academic year 2022-23.
We didn't have the sort of disruption that we had encountered the previous 2 years. Additionally, we did not have the need to move back into non-face-to-face delivery of the curriculum in the schools. So I would say basically that we had a good year, and I should add that in all of that, we were able to prepare the students on time for the CXC suite of examinations, and these examinations are very important because they basically are the exams used to ensure that the students move from one institution to the other in terms of primary to secondary, secondary to post-secondary, and also we cannot forget the internal examinations.
The minister said coming to the end of the 2022-23 academic year, there were improvements in the CXC performance by the students.
I say this because last year, and for the various reasons, we did explain that the results, and we were anticipating that the results would not have been as good as we had anticipated, but we had reasons to recognize that they might not have been. But in the last school year, the results actually improved, although, as I would indicate later, we're not just yet in a position to give details in terms of that performance. So I would say generally it was a good school year.
In related news, Deputy Chief Education Officer Joycelyn Blake Brown said the ministry recognizes the importance of technical vocational training or skills-based education, which is now being offered in many of the nation's secondary schools. She added that while students attend one of the 5 TechVoc institutions, depending on the location of their schools for training and classes, the ministry is now proposing to have centers of excellence,
where school can specialize in certain areas. For example, Central Leeward does well in sports, so they can be the center of excellence for sports. West St. George, agriculture. Bethel High, let's say music. They have at Bethel High School, they have a studio, and they have been doing well in music. Several of our secondary schools also have a band, because normally we'll have the school band competition. So we have already started to provide diversity in education, especially to attract all of our students, especially our boys. We have realized that when some of our boys, when they enter secondary school, they may not all have the skill set to transition smoothly into secondary education. But what we are proposing now, as early as Form 2, Form 3, they can be introduced to technical vocational training, skill-based education.
She noted that the rationale behind this is if anything were to happen, at least the student is able to leave school with a skill and can continue after leaving secondary school at one of the technical institutes.
So we have been advocating skill-based education so that we offer our students a variety. For example, in the Grenadines, tourism, so that the young people, after leaving school, they are more prepared for the workplace.
As this country celebrates its 44th year of independence on October 27, the Everything Vinci Expo will be taking place at the E.T. Joshua Tarmac in Annesville. Speaking at a media launch for the Everything Vinci Expo, Anthony Regisford, the chairman of Invest SVG, said that Everything Vinci is about showcasing what the government is expanding.
Everything Vinci is about showcasing exactly what the government is expounding. It's about getting our artisans, our artists, our manufacturers, our visionaries, our innovators, and even our dreamers to come and show us what we are and what we can be. And what we can be and how we can move the needle of the economy forward. That is probably a simplistic way of saying this because there are many factors that have to work in concurrence for things like that to happen.
Regisford said that Invest SVG has an important role to play in bringing the narratives together, noting that they will double down on the mandate that was given to them a couple of years ago.
Therefore, Invest SVG has a very important role to play in bringing this whole script or narrative together. Invest SVG is going to double down on its mandate for export, promotion, and marketing. We've been given that mandate for a couple of years now. It is true to say that we have not yet structured ourselves in a way that we can fully push the throttle forward and really make a meaningful difference. We are going to change that almost immediately as we speak.
Invest SVG is the official investment agency for the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It serves to attract foreign direct investment through a number of different sectors. Regisford said they will be strengthening the export promotion and marketing area. He also added that there are a number of things that need to be put in place in order to modernize the way things are done.
There are quite a few things that need to happen to modernize the way that we do things. Not just create the products, but how do we market them? How do we do business transactions? So Invest SVG has to be the advocate or the champion for the modern way of doing business, like other stakeholders in the business development arena. I know there are projects afoot or currently going steam. The digital transformation project is one such project. It's extremely important that we become a digital economy.
And finally, in our local news stories, training is being provided this week for principals and school safety officers from 16 pilot schools as part of the Safe School Recognition Program. The training program is spearheaded by the Ministry of Education in collaboration with the United Nations International Children Emergency Fund, UNICEF, and the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA. Minister of Education Curtis King was among officials who addressed the opening ceremony at the University of the West Indies Global Campus, SVG. He said the Ministry of Education will continue to implement measures geared towards the integration of safe schools and hazard awareness activities into the education system. Minister King said the ministry is pleased to be a part of the Safe School Recognition Program and is grateful for the support of UNICEF and SEDIMA. Meanwhile, Program Coordinator for the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, Nicole Trudeau, spoke of the importance of the school safety program. Those are our local news stories. Continue watching the VC3 News Update on Channel 114, where we'll bring you regional and international news.